Let us start a new project for looking at an examples for recursion. So I'll start a new Xcode project. Select command line tool. Then here mention the project. So I'll give the name as tail head. So the project name is tail and head. The language I have selected, that is C language. And create. A project is created. This is the main function. Now here I can add my code. So I will write on the functions that we have already discussed. That is fun function for just displaying numbers. Void function fun, which takes parameter n. If n is greater than 0, printf %d, I'll give some space, then n. Then function call itself for the value n minus 1. Now this function, I will call it from inside main function. I'll take a variable integer x with value 3. Then let us call the function fun for value of x. This is an example of tail function. The function is recursive. It is calling itself with the reduced value of n, and it will be calling if the value of n is greater than 0. So initially we are calling it for value of n as a 3. So x is a 3. I will run the program and show you what. Let us see what the output is. So here you can see the output is 3, 2, 1. So first it is printing 3, then and 2, then 1. As this recursion, we know well that a stack is utilized. A function will be calling itself again and again. So internally it uses a stack. Let us see how this recursive function will use a stack. For that, I will debug the code. So inside the main function, the very first line, I'll put a breakpoint by clicking here. So this is a breakpoint. So I'll debug the program and let us understand how this function recursively call itself and what is the behavior of a function. Run the program. So now it is stopping at this line here, x is 3. So now you can see that right now the value inside x is garbage because this line is not yet executed. 3 is not yet stored in x. And here inside this navigator window, you can see that the 0th function, that is main function, that is the starting point of a program. So it is numbered as 0 and it is main function is running. Now if I continue line by pressing F7 or function F7, then it moves to the next line. Now the value of x is initialized to 3. Now this line is about to execute. The line which is highlighted with green color, this line is about to execute and you can see the value of x is 3. And this function is not yet called. So if I put a cursor here, there is no value shown here. Let us continue. Now a function is called, it has entered inside the function and the value of n is compared with 0. Right now the value of n is 3. And here in the debug navigator, you can see that main has become 1 and this fun is 0. They are numbered. Like the presently executing is 0 and the previous one who has called it is 1. Now value of n is 3. I will continue execution. Now the next line is printf and printing is done. So the value 3 is printed here. Value 3 is printed. Now again the function is called. So it's about to call itself again by passing 3 minus 1. So if I continue next, again the function is called, it has directly entered inside and it is on the conditional statement right now where the value of n is 2. Yes. And here you can see in the debug navigator, the function on the top is 0 and the next is fun again. So function is called 2 times. And then below that is main function. Main has called this fun, then fun has called again itself. So 2 times, this is the second call. Now let us continue further. Printing is done. So value 2 is printed. Again it has called itself. This time the value of n is 1. And you can see that these are 3 calls here inside the debug window. Our main 3 function calls for fun are there. Now 1 is greater than 0. So it will enter inside and it will print this one. Let us proceed. So printing of 1 is done. Then again it will call itself with the value of fun with the value of n as 0. So this is 0. So these are total 4 calls. So you can count here, above main there are 4 function call. The topmost one is numbered as 0 and so on. Now for this, if I continue, n is not greater than 0, so it will not enter inside this if block, and it will come out of the if block. It will not enter inside this if block, and also it will come out of this function. So the value when n is 0, nothing happens. Printing is not done and it will not call itself. These two lines will not be executed. Let us continue further. So you can see that it has reached the end of the function call, and right now the value of n is 0 only. So if I press next step again, then see what happens. It is still there only, but this is for the previous call, and you can see that in the navigator the functions are reduced by 1. So the function with value 0 has finished. Then what is the topmost function now with the value of n as 1? Yes, it has gone back to the previous call. Now this is having value 1, then when it goes back, this will have value 2 and this will have value 3 and so on. And at last it will reach main. So right now it is inside that function call where the value of n was 1. If I proceed further, again you can see that it is standing there, just there was a blink that has gone to the next statement. So it is back on the same statement, because outside if this is the after if it has reached here, so the value of n is 2, and you can see that the number of calls are reduced. Right now it is with value 2. Then below this one, there is one more function call with value 3. So if I continue further, it will go back to this function and this function call will terminate. Let me go to next. Now I'll go to the next step. Again it is standing there only, just it has blinked and came back to this function call at the end of the function call, and the value of n is 3 here right now. So you can see here in the debugger navigation that above main there is only one function call. Currently we are in that function call where the value of n is 3. Actually this was the first call. So this is how the function is returning one by one. It has called itself again and again. Now it is returning one by one. Now if I continue further, it will go back to the main function call and the program ends. So it's back to this line from where the function was called. Here it has started, so it is back to this function call. So I'll simply finish the program now. So this was the example of tail recursion which we have already discussed on board. So I have shown you how the function calls are piling up on a stack. I will modify the same function into a head recursion by just copying this line. I'll cut it from here and paste it just before printf function. So you can see that first the function will be called, it will be calling it recursively, then it will print the value. So again I will put a breakpoint here upon this line, the first line inside the main function. Now let us run the program and see what the output is. We know the output already, that the output is going to be 1, 2, 3, but let us learn how it is generated. Running the program. Now in the debug navigator you can see that the starting point is main function, and the main function it has stopped in that line where we have given breakpoint, and the value of x is not yet initialized, it is garbage. If we continue further, the first line is executed and the value of x has become 3. Now it is about to call a function. And in the navigation you can check that there is only just one main function, that's all. If I continue further, then this is the first function call. This is the first function call you can see, and the value of n is 3. Then 3 is greater than 0, it will enter inside and it will make a call again without printing. Yeah, it has came to the line where there is a function call. Now back. Now again a function call. This time there are two function calls, and right now the value of n is 2. I'll continue. Again on the function call, recursive call. So it has called again itself with the new value, that is 1. Then 1 is greater than 0, it will enter inside and again it will call itself for 0. Yes, again a new call. So value is 0. You can see that this printf is never executed. So total how many calls? We have passed 3. So for calls are for 3, 2, 1 and 0. 4 calls are there. So inside the debug navigator, you can check that above main function, there are 4 function calls. Right now it is in this function call. And right now the value of n is 0, so it will not enter inside if block and it will terminate. So this function will terminate and it will go back to the previous call. See, this is the last line. Now if I press again, now if I press F7 again, it will go back to the previous call. Yeah, it is back on the previous call. It is on the same line from where it has called itself, and the value of n was 1. Yes, previous to 0, the function call was 1. Now, next line it will be printing 1. Printf, execute. Yes, it has printed 1 and it came out of if block. Now it's about to terminate. Function call with value n equal to 1 is about to terminate. If I continue, then it is back on the previous call. You can see that the call has reduced here. It is back on the call where it was n value was 2. So yes, here it is n is 2. So then it will print this 2 and go back. So you can see that printf is being executed at returning time. Calling time, there was nothing in this function. So I'll continue execution. Printf 2, then go back to previous call where the value of n was 3, then printf 3, go back to the previous call, and it has gone back to the main function, and that's all. Function ends. So that's all. We have seen how a recursive function works. We have seen the calling phase as well as returning phase.